ladies and gentlemen. We just played a video and audio of planetary skin, smart dust, control grid. At least 10 years ago, I saw reports in Australia, England, and the U.S., as well as Canada, where they're installing wireless camera and microphone systems that are powered off of solar power in the most remote areas to surveil people. This is why you go to rural four-way stops, the middle of nowhere, where there's an old shut-down gas station and a mule behind a fence and a dog running around. I mean, I've literally been out in the middle of nowhere in West Texas, East Texas, you name it, and there's cameras at the four-way stops hooked into the Pentagon. And they admit this is their control grid. But notice in this video when they're showing climate change, they show a time-lapse of a power plant. And it looks like smoke is just coming off the whole thing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can look at an air conditioner, anything. When it's cold this morning, it was like 45 degrees. It looked like smoke was pouring off all the buildings by my office. It's heat. It's water condensation. It's as big a pollutant as when you exhale in cold weather and it looks like smoke. It's not smoke. Now, I know you know that, but the public doesn't. Show that power plant again, because that's a shot of just one from the air. It actually shows a power plant from a distance. There it is. Hit play on that. That's a time lapse of a power plant, no doubt, near the Arctic Circle or Norway or something, because it's so cold. That only happens when it's below zero. I've seen footage from Minnesota when it's below zero. And everything, I mean, if a human gets on top of a roof, heat just pours off of them. So notice, that's not just heat coming out of smokestacks. That's water vapor. But, oh, my gosh, look at that pollution. Look at all that smoke. I don't want my kids breathing that. Even the dirtiest factories and refineries down on the Texas coast, when it's warm weather, you see no smoke, no nothing. If they are burning something off, it's natural gas, and you'll see a plume of fire, very clean burning. And it's what plants breathe is what it's putting off. Now, I know you know that, but the public doesn't. We have to expose this fraud. Now, I want to go really fast now, folks. So I'm going to give each caller 1 minute. We're going to go to calls on our phone system, then Genesis calls. Eric in Pennsylvania, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Howdy, Alex Jones.
Hello.
Okay. Before I talk about how they're, doing a hit piece on Ron Paul, I just want to plug some. Luke Radowski, Cindy Sheehan, Richard Gage, Michael Spurn, and Lieutenant Anthony Schaefer, and Russ Baker.
Sir, listen, I said I can only give callers 1 minute, and we're going to do plugs all day. Just tell me.
TreasonInAmericaConference.com, March 6th and 7th here in Valley Forge. It's going to be really big.
Awesome. But, okay, now, Eric, please, tell us what you called about.
Absolutely. So Paul won the straw poll, so of course they're going to do hit pieces on him. And this guy on CNN, David Frum, is completely misrepresenting him, saying, all he talks about is, backing the currency with gold. But that's not what Ron Paul talks about.
Yes, Fox News has always said the most important meeting is CPAC. Ron Paul wins the poll for who they want as president, so now they're demonizing and attacking him. I hear you, Eric. We're going to move quick. I promise to get to your calls. Eric in Indiana, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. This is Eric. And wanted to let you know, I started listening to you about 2 years ago. A friend of mine sent me Endgame while I was in Korea teaching English. And real quick, I go to a seminary in northern Indiana, and people here are just so bought off on the New World Order stuff. I'm about the only person who really, mentions stuff that you and other people talk about. But anyway, the quick question I had for you is, I showed Endgame to a friend of mine this week, and who was very intrigued. And he had the one problem he had on it was where you get on a megaphone and you talk to the world, the Bilderbergs and stuff like that. And, I try to explain to him, this is a tactic that goes to the Bible, with the prophets using it all the way through Jesus using it.
Yeah, you have to go before the evil king and call him out. And some people like that, some people don't. The point is, it's the information. What are we going to do about it?
I appreciate that. But anyway, I just wanted to say, thanks for putting out those videos. A lot of things I couldn't connect the dots with a few years ago, and had the seminary I go to, I'm about the only one who's, saying, Obama's not our hope when most people are saying, oh, he's our hope here.
Well, I don't know what type of seminary you're going to, but I mean, big government, the World Council of Churches, National Council of Churches, started by the Rockefellers, have come in and taken over all the big denominations, including Catholic, and that's just what they push 24/7 is world government's good. It's truly sickening, but, tell your friend, it's the information. Whatistheendgame.com. The website has a full bibliography of what's in that film. He needs to address the issues, and what is he going to do about it, instead of saying, I don't like him shouting on a megaphone. But I appreciate your call. Julie in Illinois, bit north of Eric. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Land of Lincoln calling, where all governors go to prison. Hey, I'm a relatively new listener, and prior to listening to your program, I had been following Glenn Beck. Because of that, I did attend my first Tea Party April 15th last year, and I was one of those right-wing extremist nuts that went to the 9/12
Yeah,
rally.
let's make no mistake. Glenn Beck does some good, okay, by widening the people that are aware of this stuff. The problem is at key points, he says global warming's real, we need new taxes, banker bailouts are good, Ron Paul is bad, Deborah Medina's bad. He does enough good stuff to get your confidence. It's like rat poison's 90% good food.
If I'm being deceived, I want to know. I consider myself open-minded, and I just want to get to the truth. But I have heard you made several comments, things that he's said, that Glenn has said 9/11 truthers should be locked up. They're capable of violence. They might kill the president. We should pay our cap and trade taxes. But then the soundbite you played talked about him saying, pray our politicians move to the center. I just wanted to see if you could reference a date and a program that he made those statements so that I can just have proof.
Ma'am, number one, I'll be talking about all the things Glenn Beck has done in general, and then I will play a new clip of something he's saying. We don't want our politicians to move to the center of that false political paradigm. Both the liberals and conservatives are bringing in big government and New World Order. We want to move out of that system. But I was just looking around for it. Sarah Palin has said global warming's real. Senator McCain says it. Glenn Beck has said it repeatedly. And normally I wouldn't have it in front of me, even though I have a great memory. It just so happens today I have USA Today from Sunday. In fact, give me a document cam shot for folks. It's Don't Judge Beck by His Cover. And it says he believes in global warming. And they interviewed him. And he says, you'd be an idiot not to notice the temperature change, he says. He also says, and this article they gave me is part cut off. I had another printout of one where I could read the whole thing. Guys, will you reprint me the Glenn Beck and give it to me in a printer-friendly? Because this is cutting off a whole word at the end, and I can't read it to her. The point is, ma'am, is that he did say that Ron Paul supporters want a money bomb, which means blowing things up. We need to have our troops deal with these type of people. They're dangerous. And it was a talking point with Scarborough and others saying we need to tase them and take them to prison, and all these Fox News people saying it. I mean, if I spent hours, because there's thousands of Glenn Beck clips, I could go pull those up. I could play clips of him saying the banker bailout's good, that we need all these new taxes. Are you saying you're a Glenn Beck listener and you've never heard any of that? Hold on, they didn't have you faded back up. Man, you gotta start over. They didn't have you faded up. Go ahead.
If he really did make these comments, I would like to know, because I've never heard such a thing, and I personally don't buy into the global warming scam.
Well, ma'am, here's an issue. I'll be here in a week saying, by federal law, all cell phones without warrants, listen to you and track where you're at. Now, I just so happen to have Newsweek here today. I won't have this in front of me. Next week, I'll clean the desk off. Here's Newsweek, February 19th. The snitch in your pocket. Law enforcement is tracking American cell phones in real time without the benefit of a warrant. Okay? I'll be talking a month from now about the secret meeting of banks in Australia 2 weeks ago. I won't have this in front of me. Secret summit of top bankers, meeting in secret. Everything I told you is true. Everything I just went over is in USA Today. I don't even hardly pay attention to him, and this is all I hear. The problem is he'll start out with something good, like saying the Tea Parties are good, but then next he says, we can't deal with these extremists over on the right and the left. I mean, I don't know what to say to you about you never hearing him call for new taxes It says, don't judge Beck by his cover. And it says, zoom in on this for me. Here it is. He believes in global warming. You'd be an idiot. This is a quote. Not to notice the temperature change, he says. He also says there's a legit case for global warming has, at least in part, been caused by mankind. He has tried to do this part by buying a home with green design and using energy-saving products. Quote, I'm willing to do anything but use the CFLs, he says, the compact fluorescent light bulbs. I put one in once and couldn't stand the way it lit up the room. I mean, it's every day. It's